What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today, ETH, USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 20th day of May, and here we are sitting at about $2,130 more or less. 10 hours, 38 minutes left in this day. One more time, guys, hit that like button. Thank you all for being here. We have broken down. We've broken down from this top area, moved down quite ferociously, seen a little bit of volume come in here at the lows, which is nice actually. This does make me think that we're due for some type of a bounce. Maybe this bounce finds resistance at prior support right there at about 2,250. Maybe we find resistance at the top area. We get some type of lower high here or a high there. Maybe we're going all the way up. I don't know how it is. I mean, overall, technically, we do have higher lows still. A lot of people write off the possibility of going higher just because we've broken this trend line, but the reality is we haven't broken the uptrend. You're still in an uptrend. An uptrend is defined by higher lows and higher highs, which you still maintain. If we move up here and we get a lower high, we move down and we get a lower low, aha, now we're breaking the uptrend. You see what I'm saying there, right? And you can make the argument, well, we have a lower low or a lower high here and a lower low there. Yeah, but relative to this, sure, we're in a downtrend, sure, but relative to this, we're still in an uptrend. Does that make sense? And not a whole lot of volume happened on this breakout. I mean, this move looks like this move, looks like this move in size, and these were the points at which we started to move up from. So at least expecting some type of retracement here should be on the table. We look at the daily time frame, we are oversold. It's the most oversold, well, we're not oversold now, I guess. Most oversold we've been, though, since February. When we were oversold here on the RSI, that was a time to bounce. We literally bounced 11% the next day. When we were oversold here, we bounced 5% the next day and continuing, 2% the next day, like an overall 10% bounce from low to high. Then when we were oversold here, we dropped through the floor a little bit. Volume was a little bit higher, but then we were at the ass end of this overall breakout move to the downside. I do believe Ethereum has lower to go. I do believe we're going to see a lower high and a lower low scenario play out here, but for the time being, let's focus on the upside. That's my suspicion. It is completely possible that we move higher. But as it is, and I want to focus on this real quick, typically people get very bearish here. And the reality is, let's just think about this real quick, okay? First and foremost, there are times where you break these trend lines and it is bearish, okay? Right here. You broke this trend line here, higher lows, and what happened? What happened, guys? We moved way lower. Okay, it was bearish. Maybe this trend line isn't even appropriate. Maybe we should draw it a little bit tighter. Maybe it's like this trend line here. And when we broke that, things got bearish. We did, however, see a little bit of a pump going into there. There was a little bit of excitement, right? A lot of people might have expected, oh God, we broke the trend line, so we're going to go down. Ethereum's got to do something opposite to make people go long, buy back in, close their shorts, whatever, because the market's not meant to give people money. It's not meant to be easy. And then we dropped, man. Oh my goodness, we dropped. So could we see something like that here? Could we move up to about $2,200 and then move down? Yes. I mean, that might very well be exactly what's on the way. Could we move up a little bit higher? Could we move up above this line? Well, we've already disregarded it, so I don't think moving back above it means anything. Yeah, get a lower high, whatever. Could this be the best time to buy? Well, again, in the same kind of context, here you're looking at this trend line. How many people were bearish on Ethereum when you broke below it here? This was the worst time relative to this range. This was one of the worst times to sell. You're at the low point of this range. You went on a run from 2,700 all the way up to 3,300. And that could be possible here. That might not be possible. I'm just saying this line, these diagonal lines, they're more meant to mess with you. Okay, it's more meant to mess with you. I don't know how to phrase that properly. That sounds kind of weird. It's meant to mess with you more. That might be the better order of the words. Meant to mess with you more. And if we were to break through this, if this was the bearish signal that some people might expect it to be, why haven't we moved lower already? It's the bearish signal. It's given us a few days. What, we're giving people time to short? I don't think so. We're giving people time to make the wrong decisions. If you imagine you were long here, imagine you bought and then you sold the low. If you bought here, you bought the high. If you sold here, you sold the low. So that's emotional right there. If you're selling here and making bearish predictions based off this line, you're emotional. So if we move up a little bit, we move above this line, if you're an emotional person, might you make the wrong mistake again? You're going to go long at the top, short at the bottom, long at the top again, or you bought the top, you sold the bottom, you bought the relative high again. I mean, that's very common. The market's not meant to make you money, it's meant to take your money. And if we understand our psychology or what people think, we put ourselves in that perspective, that can really help us understand what the next move might be. And we use TA to, refine that. In other words, I expect that we move up from here. From a high to a low, the retracement levels that we could see are anything from $2,200 to $2,300, more or less. That's the golden ratio to the 382. Can we move higher? Sure. Can we move higher and still move lower? Yes. But personally, I'm sticking with the 382 golden ratio zone. That's typically what I do. $2,311, $2,204 to be very specific. That's the area that I expect we go. Imagine that we spend the rest of the month working our way up there. What we'd be doing is back testing this trend line for resistance, which would be bearish. But in the moment of doing this, that might make people bullish because, hey, wait, we were supposed to break down. This is bearish. Now we're back up here. Look at that. And then not only are we up here. Let's draw this again. Not only are we up here in this area, but we'd also be interacting with this trend line in that zone. And maybe we go a little bit above it again. I don't care if we do, whatever. But if we were to, maybe it's early June that we're up here. Is that the right? I mean, that looks pretty proper to me. Maybe even shave this down a little bit. Maybe we don't even get to the golden ratio, but still something above $2,200 I think is coming. And if we imagine that we find resistance here in this section of the circle, we'd be hitting this trend line and we'd be finding resistance at prior support here. I mean, there's a lot of sense to be made out of that area. So that's what I'm sticking with. That's the call. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then see if we can validate or back this claim up that we are moving higher. 1 hour time frame here. Well, we have broken out a little bit to the upside. We saw a little bit of volume come in, but it's not that significant. This 1 hour time frame does look somewhat bearish at the moment, actually, with this engulfing candle moving down like this. We had a pretty big wick up here. We're moving down rather aggressively this hour. Maybe we move down. Weren't we just up like $5? Not that that's a lot, but for Ethereum, it's a little bit. Let's just see. So we've just started moving down a little bit over the past few minutes. Volume's picking up relative to the 1 hour, but it's not that impressive. We look at this on a 1 hour RSI perspective. You do have higher lows, which is nice. You have broken out of this kind of triangle formation. I would think that we find support at the 50. We continue to push higher to this overbought area personally. That's my expectation. Stochastics are coming out of the overbought zone, looking like they want to come down. That's bearish. The MACD here rejected the zero, and now you're coming up to cross above the zero. That is bullish, but you do look like you kind of want to take a pause here, in all fairness. We could come down. There's nothing wrong with coming back down, finding support around that 117 area, and then moving up from there. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe even like $109, something like that. That could happen. Maybe we move down here. Maybe there's no breakout yet, and we're just still in this kind of triangle overall. I mean, that looks pretty appropriate. So we could move back down to about $110, $111, something like that. I wouldn't be too shocked by that. 4 hour time frame. Looking at this here, stochastics look bullish in all fairness, and the MACD has tapered off. We've had some not bullish divergence, but a lessening of bearish momentum. And we're starting to get bullish here. I don't know. I could see this coming up more. Maybe just a little bit more. Maybe you break through and you get up to the zero. You find resistance there. Either way, that's a lot of room for growth. Again, I'm not expecting anything too exceptional to the upside here, but definitely some type of retracement from this move overall. To me, we look at this on a more broad thing, but we're not just focusing on this short-term stuff, because that's how you get screwed up, man. That's how you get screwed up. You got to look at this overall from a broad perspective. From a low to a high, you're at the golden ratio finding support. If you were to go lower, I think you would have done so already. You've got higher lows now. You tried here to go lower. That's a pretty aggressive candle, and you had less volume come in. And now you're moving up. Volume's dying off as you're trying to move lower, and it's just not working out. You've seen a rather aggressive move down without really any kind of retracements here. You had some retracements here, some retracements here, but it's been a while since you've seen a retracement. I think you're overdue. Just because I think that doesn't mean that it's anything exceptional. Again, maybe you just stop at $2,200. Maybe you go up to $2,300. Maybe we go higher, whatever the case may be. But I do think some type of movement upwards is acceptable to expect. Okay. Lower highs here, lower lows here. It looks like you're breaking out. You've done that before and it didn't bring much fruit for you, but I mean, hey, whatever. You look good. You look somewhat good here on the 4-hour RSI. Stochastics do look good right here. And the MACD, again, has some potential as well to grow a little bit. What I'm seeing on the 4-hour, what I'm seeing on the 1 hour is that we are at a point to turn around. That doesn't mean we have to move up right now. That doesn't mean if we move down like $10 that it's over. We're at a point to turn around here. And if we go higher, I wouldn't expect higher highs. I would expect a lower high. And preferably, if you're a bear, right at prior support. So 2,200, 2,300, more or less, somewhere in that area. Just above 2,300, just above 2,200, something in that area. That's what I would expect, and that's what I am expecting. So that overall will give us a lower high. We'll have something to work with as far as consolidating goes, and then we likely will break down. And then perhaps a more aggressive move to the downside can shape and form. I don't really have anything else to say. I think that's enough there. Stochastics are oversold. The MACD, you guys, has been red. It's been red for so long. It can be red for so much longer. It can be. There's no limitation on that, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me if we found a little bit of tapering off here. If we kind of cooled the jets, as it were. You got oversold. You're oversold here. Cool the jets, right? You're hot to the bearish effect. Cool it off. Let these indicators come back up for air, and then we'll begin the next plunge down. I mean, if we look at this for what it is, you've got these lower lows here. You've got these lower highs here. Maybe you come up, find resistance at the 50, and then you come back down. I do believe lower is going to happen. I just don't believe it's going to happen too much, to any kind of significant degree right now. We're at 123. Maybe we even go below these lows. Maybe we even go below $2,080. But I don't know. We start to get too much lower. If volume picks up, that could be actually a very bearish thing. Maybe we are in the beginning of something like this. But again, I would think if we were dropping like this, if this was to come, I would think that we would at least do what we did back here and back test that trend line, get a little bit of a reprieve, cool off the indicators, then move down. If we were to just move down right now, I don't think that we would have been chilling here for the last few days. I can be wrong. All of that can make total sense and still be wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.